better. Welcome back. Jesus. Let's try that again. Welcome back to Australia Mania. That was a bit hot on the mic. Christ. Welcome back to Australia Mania. It's the only wrestling podcast called Australia Mania. I'm your host, Ricky Needs. As always, joined by Michael Thompson.
Hello.
And David Yang. How you going? You good?
I'm living it, man. I'm living it.
You're living it,
I'm
Michael?
living it,
And
man.
also...
Also living it?
I still love our
man.
new theme song as well.
It's good. It's good. It's good. Better than the other one.
Thanks to our Waking Hour for giving us that theme song.
Yeah, this is a wrestling podcast from the 90s. How about that Attitude Era, boys? It's good.
Yeah.
So, we're back. Extreme Rules this weekend. Head over to our YouTube channel. The prediction video should be there or thereabouts soon enough. So you can check that one out. So we'll be avoiding talking about Extreme Rules for most of this podcast because, let's face it, I can't remember a worse build to a pay-per-view for a while. It's not been great, has it?
It's been debatable.
It's just been a build.
A pretty stock standard.
Yeah, if I had to template it,
Yeah.
and they were just like, all right, we got a selection
Like-
of 14 templates here. Let's
like-
just tuck the basic one.
There are matches. These are opponents. These are stipulations. Pay-per-view. It's been pretty shit, to be honest. I've not liked it. But elsewhere things are fun. Elsewhere things are awesome. Elsewhere things are just like the best they've ever been. And I'm kind of digging the hell out of it. For example, New Japan. For example, UFC. Are just killing it right now.
It is.
When it comes to just watching, just talking about. And yeah, I know this podcast is built around the fact that everyone watches WWE, but I'd be happy to just do a podcast where we just skip WWE for an entire show. Because right now, aside from Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, and all of NXT, there's nothing that I really want to discuss about WWE because it just feels like it's the same shit week after week, and there's not really that much changing when it comes to, main event guys and feuds and match. Like this was the third week in a row where we had No Way Jose versus what's his face, Mojo Rawley.
Yeah.
Is that what I know? Yeah, no way. Yeah, it's repetitive bullshit, and I'm kind of done with it. Just a little bit, for now. I'm sick of it. I don't know how are you guys feeling about the product right now? Because
Well, I'll say this though: 205 Live and NXT both are thriving right now. I actually
Can I just say how hot it is in this room?
Can we turn that off?
Yeah, we can.
Thank you.
I don't have the.
It's right there.
There it is.
There you go.
But all I'm going to say, though, is I'm pretty happy with that because I just watched the NXT from yesterday. My God, it was one of the... I really enjoyed Undisputed Era vs. Mustache Mountain, the story they told in that ring.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't watched it, go on the WWE Network after this podcast and watch that main event between Mustache Mountain and the Undisputed Era.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's
the story there was fantastic. It was phenomenal. It was something you should have seen on a TakeOver pay-per-view. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, but that is like the shining beacon when it comes to WWE is NXT right now. And that really shouldn't be the case because it's the developmental. Like, at no point in history was anyone ever like, oh, WWE's great right now, but have you checked out OVW? It's so good. Right now it's like NXT is it's just fun and it's enjoyable to watch. And like sitting through Raw and SmackDown every week at the moment just feels like a chore. Like I have to do it because I have to watch the podcast. I have to do the podcast. Like, it's getting annoying. I don't like it.
I don't know. I want to take a different stance to you then.
I will give you this. There are moments that are enjoyable, but for the most part, sitting through 3 hours of Raw, it's rough. There are some rough patches, like half hour to 45-minute patches where you're just like, why am I still watching this?
Which is why I think Fox in particular wanted... Because they want... Actually, sorry, they're still on USA, aren't they? Sorry, that SmackDown is going to Fox.
Well, look, for the moment, everything's still on USA.
But I think Fox are keen on Raw as well. However, they've told Vince McMahon
just yet.
But they've told Vince McMahon straight out, listen, I want to use Raw, but Raw has to be 2 hours for him. That's the standpoint that has been put out there for Fox to get the rights to WWE Raw.
While we're just on this whole train of talking about televised shows, SmackDown's been better than Raw. Well,
Yeah.
have you been watching SmackDown?
But how much does that for you come down to the talent involved versus the fact it's only 2 hours?
No shit, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We've discussed Raw emphatically before. Like the format's too long.
Yep.
The booking isn't that great.
That
they're not
middle hour
utilizing
is
it,
just death.
Yeah, and it whether you can chalk it up to either side, saying it is the time frame, it isn't the time frame. But if we have to objectify it and put it against something, and so SmackDown obviously at 2 hours,
Yep.
SmackDown has been the better product. I have always been a SmackDown guy.
No, and like when they had the first brand split, I was 100%. Then they changed writers, and Raw got really, really good for a bit.
Agreed.
But then it's at some point it's changed back.
Yeah.
SmackDown
is having its resurgence again.
Like I said, aside from anything that like Braun or Kevin Owens or Seth Rollins is involved in, they're always enjoyable segments. Especially with Braun, no matter how ridiculous it gets, I still like.
Braun and KO's probably been the best build heading into Extreme Rules out of all the matches on the card that we predict.
I don't even think the build has been necessarily that good, but just Kevin Owens as a character is
but
someone I want to watch no matter what.
But to be fair, that Portaloo thing where Braun put it off the thing, that was amazing.
Didn't like it.
I loved it.
Didn't like it.
I loved it.
I did not. For all the creative stuff they've done with Braun,
you I'd find you.
for all the creative stuff they've done with Braun over the past 6 months that have got him over with everybody. Like, everybody loves that guy now. Having him shove a Portaloo off a stage is just not as fun as him lifting up a truck or walking out the back of a crashed ambulance or coming out of the back of a...
There's only so much you can do, Ricky.
I know, but I'm saying, like, why even give him that spot when it's... Like, each spot sequentially with Braun has been bigger and badder. And, like, when I say bad, like, good bad, like, it's been bigger and, like, a bigger spectacle each time. Like, him lifting up the goddamn stage with the commentator's desk on top.
But
Holy shit.
But he killed the lights, though, as he was dragging Kevin Owens to the stage, though. Like, lights got killed in that segment there.
The Portaloo feels like a backward step.
Oh, him flipping Owens' rental car over, that was good.
That was good. Yeah, exactly. Like, that was...
There's your car.
That was like a moment that was bigger than the ones that came previous. But having him... The Portaloo spot, I did not rate it at all. It was just like, okay, they had nothing for him to do that week, and they were just like, what's backstage we can use? That Portaloo looks pretty beat up. Let's use that. Like, it didn't feel inspired or fun.
I did like Owens, though, sitting with Kurt Angle on Raw, though.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was great. That was great, but that was something that wasn't... It didn't require that huge spot from Braun, but it was something that added to the story, and that's why KO is so good right now, is because he can do stuff like that. But I think the Portaloo spot was shit, pun intended. That on Raw this week was great.
I was going to say long term, I would love to see Strowman and Owens long term do a storyline, because I think that there's more to the storyline than just, Strowman killing Owens at Money in the Bank and throwing him off, a 30-foot ladder.
But think about it, though. It didn't just start at Money in the Bank.
No.
They've had a storyline going on for a while now.
Even with
so if it did
Strowman
end...
and Lashley versus Owens and Zayn from Backlash,
Yeah,
that's right.
they've had a storyline going for a while now. If it did end at Extreme... I don't think it personally should, but if it did end at Extreme Rules, I'm not sitting there going, shit, it shouldn't have, because it would be a conclusion to a already long story.
Well, they've got a steel cage match at Extreme Rules. I'm thinking, what kind of match type do you want to see Owens and Strowman in at, say, SummerSlam? If they want to enhance storyline.
And we'll definitely touch on it later in the show.
Yeah.
But it does come down to what the top of the card is looking like, right? Because obviously Braun is being floated around in the upper mids just in the meantime while they sort out what happens at the top, right? Because Braun is still heavily looked at as the guy. Very much so, still the biggest product on Raw.
The monster in the bank, as he's been
dubbed
now.
he was given the Money in the Bank for a reason, right?
Dumb name.
What monster in the bank?
Yeah, there's not a monster in the briefcase. He's the monster. It's stupid.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Semantics. But yeah, so I wouldn't be opposed to having a Kevin Owens, Braun Strowman continue on. Whether you then it comes down to a creative thing. What else can these guys do? Right? Obviously, it's gold week in and week out, but you don't want to stretch out something too good.
No.
Right? Because if it did end at Extreme Rules, in hindsight, we'd look back and go, "That's great." Right? But if we look back, if we continue this on for a month and 2 months from now, because there's just nothing else for them to do, you ruin what was great about it.
You know what I would like? Just a really, really good, solid one-on-one match. No stipulation, no bullshit gimmick. Just go out there and have a good match, because Kevin can carry that.
He can.
Braun has got to the point where he can go with Kevin for the length of 20, 25
Oh, they
minutes.
can go to distance
Yeah,
now, I think.
but
so.
I'm talking like you need to book this as, Kevin needs to be booked as like the baby face in this situation to get him over with the crowd in a way that I don't think he has. Like, we've seen really, really good matches from Kevin
Owens
Owens.
in a very interesting position where he's not booked either way.
No, I know.
And
Yeah.
now we're going to see what he's like without Sami Zayn.
In this
too, 'cause-
storyline as well, neither is Braun. They're being booked neither face nor heel.
No, it's
No.
been good.
Yeah, which is a good thing, and I'm agreeing with it's a great thing that like they've very clearly there's no clear face or heel. Like we know from past interactions that Kevin Owens is the heel,
Yep.
and we know that with crowd reception, Braun's the face.
Yep.
But in this vacuum of a storyline,
Having them booked the other way around.
it doesn't work. Like they're not being booked as either. Right?
Well, no, but I'm saying like from like a purely match perspective, if you book KO as like the babyface that's got to come from underneath, Braun fight the big spots, and win from a position of weakness.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
That's
in a
how-
match standpoint, if you're going to
Yeah.
book a story in a match,
But
it has to be that way.
That would be an incredible story to tell, and just I think get Kevin over with the crowd in a very different way.
Yeah.
And
It's
also,
the Stone Cold from WrestleMania 13
Exactly.
story.
and like I want to mention as well, this is now Kevin Owens without Sami Zayn as well. So now we get to see what Owens could do without having his running mate there with him. Because
Well, we saw that for 3 years.
I was going to say, well, it's
When
not
they
like
were-
we haven't fucking seen it before.
when
Yeah,
they were
well, like,
rivals.
But without Sami Zayn, either feuding or being his best friend in the picture too.
Yeah, actually
we-
haven't. Yeah,
Like we finally get to see like what
it's
Owens
been
could
a
do.
year since that. Yeah, they've been working a feud and subsequently.
Been friends
yeah.
for a year.
But like just the fact that like it always happened that whenever they do the superstar shake up, they'd always keep them on the same brand, and it's like
Yeah.
this is the you're right. This is the first time no Sammy involved
in anything.
at all. Yeah,
Yeah,
So
because like Sammy's now out until I think after the Rumble as well, so it'll be good to see what Owens can do in the meantime and work himself up. Because if they're going to bring back Sammy as still a heel with Kevin, with Kevin by his side, or if Sammy and Kevin are going to go to their separate ways, or if Sammy's going to come back as maybe a face and face KO at WrestleMania, like we don't know yet. But
It's interesting because, I think
it'll be good to see what
you
what we
touched
can
on
do.
it, right? You always got to think about the long term here, right?
Yeah.
So, in the long term, Kevin Owens is fine because if Sami Zayn does come back, it's very simple as clicking their fingers and going, look, we can get a Mania match out of that.
Yeah.
And just have
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Always.
very, very easily. You can just go, all right, click your fingers, we get a Mania match there.
Yep.
So Kevin Owens in the long term is fine, right? Because now that Sami Zayn, a blessing in disguise, Sami Zayn being out opens up the story further, right? But then now we look at Braun then, right? And we say, yeah, Braun's got a long-term book there in terms of the fact that he's reserved for the top of the card
Yeah.
whenever Brock decides to come back. But what are we doing now until then? Because that's still indeterminate, right? So now let's look at it in Extreme Rules. Who goes over? Who goes over? Right? And when we made our predictions, but you got to think about further on. Who goes over in this match? Does Kevin Owens get the rub? And then you kind of continue this, right? Where Kevin Owens, maybe for the next subsequent weeks, comes in and just goes, I beat Braun Strowman. And then we start to get that look now of determinate heel and determinate face, where Kevin Owens becomes the cocky winner, right? Or does Braun win, and then that's just the end. And that's just the end.
I want to see this keep going. So
I want to see it keep going as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I reckon Braun right now is kind of directionless. Like I didn't think he needed to win the briefcase, but now looking at like what they've done subsequently after Money in the Bank, it's like, well, if he didn't have the briefcase, what would he really be doing? He'd probably still be in the feud with Kevin Owens, but the fact that he has the briefcase kind of gives him just that extra X factor.
He's got another step towards what they're going to do with him moving forward.
Yeah.
And like he's already subsequently come out and said as well, I'm going to cash this in on Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Full stop.
But like he's not the guy that needs the briefcase to be in the main event. You can just put him in the main event, and because of who he is, you believe it. Whereas someone like Kevin Owens would have been a really interesting choice for Money in the Bank. I wouldn't mind this going down to, say, at SummerSlam we have, if Kevin does win this Extreme Rules match, SummerSlam we get Kevin v. Braun for the briefcase. Assuming that Brock isn't back.
I like that.
I do like that too.
That's brilliant.
And that's good because they can sort of make up their mind then, because we're going to be touching on this in the podcast in a bit, Brock's whole situation where he is with the company right now. But if whatever the situation is with Brock come SummerSlam, whether he's there or not, there may be that point where they got to go, right, we need to adjust how we're going to go about this briefcase cash-in. And maybe now, in hindsight, Kevin is the way to go. And then we have Braun move into a program with whomever be the champion at the end of SummerSlam.
Because this is the first time since WrestleMania 23 where we've had this situation where Kennedy won the briefcase and then he got injured as well as having some bit of heat backstage with officials and all that. And that's why
a lot of heat.
They got rid of Kennedy and they said, okay, he's not our guy. Let's get Edge to steal the briefcase off him and we'll make Edge get Money in the Bank.
I think the Money in the Bank briefcase as a stipulation match is brilliant.
Yep.
Right? And it's very, like you just said, Kennedy at 23, that's the only other time that's ever been used as a let's transition
like a belt.
Yeah. But they've used the Royal Rumble one in the past as well, which I'm surprised they haven't done a bit more, where Ray put his Rumble title shot on the line against Orton going into Mania, lost, and then got added into the match.
I think Cena did as well at one point.
Also, Reigns
Cena
did with Bryan as well. Like, Reigns put his Royal Rumble title shot up against Bryan and still beat Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the brilliance of it, because, like, don't just think about it in terms of, like, if Braun versus Owens comes out and it's like, no, we want to use it to get the belts or the briefcase on Owens. It's another month worth of story, right? Because that's just another month worth of pushing back Brock coming back.
News?
Yeah, we can get into news if you want to.
Let's do news. There's a lot of news.
My God, is there a lot of news? And I might as well start with the elephant in the room. Breaking news overnight as well. Daniel Bryan is going to re-sign with the WWE, which is now a matter of when. He's been advertised for an upcoming live TV event in Detroit, Michigan at the Little Caesars Arena. He's also been pointed for Madison Square Garden, and he's also been touted as well for the Super Showdown in Melbourne. He's also been confirmed on the card for that one as well, which should be coming out not too far in the distant future. Speaking of Daniel Bryan, John Cena has put his 2 cents into it as well. Saying to Sports Illustrated, he gives back his all, and it's a great time now. He's had the outlet again where he can give something back to him. John Cena has also praised Daniel Bryan's resilience as well going back into wrestling as well. Speaking from a company standpoint, it's great to have him back because he's very good at what he does, and audiences will show up to see him. Speaking from a personal standpoint on what I see about Bryan Danielson, I know that he's dedicated to wrestling and he loves wrestling. He was so heartbroken when it was taken away from him before his decision to give it up. I can't tell you how happy I am for him to go out there again and live his dream. So, big ups from John Cena there. Rey Mysterio potentially could be working with WWE after the All In event. Apparently, he's signed and planned to work All In with the Bucks and Rhodes in Chicago on September 1st. But apparently, Mysterio and WWE are not too far off from signing a long-term deal with him to return to the company, which is really good. He's confirmed that they were negotiating a 3-year deal. The Observer has recently reported that WWE want to break the announcement themselves, and if they finalize a deal, the return will likely be as soon as they've been finalised. But watch this space for Rey Mysterio. He might make an appearance maybe at the Super Showdown in Melbourne. Also, might as well end on a Booker T news story. Booker has released the reasons why Big Cass was released from WWE last month on his Heated Conversations with Booker T podcast.
Because he's a dick?
There were so many rumors flying around as far as his release. Booker said, the story is bigger than Big Cass. For instance, back in the day, you didn't tell anyone who you voted for. You know what I mean? It was a secret. You don't bring that stuff up together because we have to be friends. That is something you have to deal with inside yourself. I'm not homophobic or anything like that, but when gay people come out, it's like you didn't have to tell me that because I'm still going to give you a hug. It's not my business. So when people do certain things, they literally become vulnerable and not keep their eyes on the prize as far as what there really is at stake.
The hell's he talking about?
Oh, he's talking about Big Cass's political views.
Oh, political views. Yeah. Fuck, man. I thought Big Cass came out and it just didn't break news. I'm like, okay, good moment.
And at the end of the day, if you're taking care of your family, going out and doing the job like Stevie Ray would say, to the best of your ability, and somebody comes along. I say that because it's very simple. We are all in the entertainment business. If you want to be running the publication, get another job. But Twitter can ruin one's life. Going on Twitter and saying something. He personally liked the guy, but he didn't like his personal beliefs voting for Donald Trump, and maybe that was a part of it. But his thing was this. He's been one of the boys. He's had to work in that locker room. He's had hate conversations with the boys throughout times of his career. But he went out and performed in the ring and overshadowed and trumped everything, which is your performance. So there's a few extra things as well. So Booker T did go on a bit of a rant in regards to Big Cass as well. And
seems like a really roundabout way to say Cass was a bit of a dick.
Yep.
And no one really liked him.
But apparently as well, there were other stuff as well that got trumped as well, like the stuff with Carmella and everything like that.
Yeah.
Didn't happen either.
And beating up a little person on live TV probably didn't bode too well for him.
No,
In the
especially
end.
when you want to go into business for yourself, you don't do that at Vince McMahon's expense.
Maybe him and Enzo can start up a rap group.
I honestly hope
let's
they
ignore
find
that.
a way to work together on Indies.
Well,
I know there's heat between those two, and I get it, but I think at the end of the day, money speaks more than personal beef.
I really don't care
have you guys
at all about either.
Have
of
you
them.
guys listened to Enzo
Fair
on
enough.
the Stone Cold
Stone Cold?
Shut up.
Sorry,
the
Michael.
Stone
What's
Cold
that?
podcast.
Can you say that
On
again?
the Stone Cold podcast.
On the what?
on Stone Cold's podcast? Did you hear
That's not what you said the first time.
Enzo?
It's the Stone Cold podcast.
Stone Cold.
Yeah, did you hear Enzo?
Fucking idiot.
No, I'm not listening to that fucking podcast.
They're like Enzo was just pretty. He was pretty raw and pretty open about the whole
man.
getting rid of WWE as well as he's beef with BCAS as well.
Just puts me to sleep. I could give. I don't know if it's possible for me to give less.
Enzo was money, man.
Yep. And then he was a dick, and now he's gone.
Enzo
And
was
I
money,
am
man.
Happy.
All right,
that
fair
he's
enough.
gone.
And then BCAS became a dick, and
And I'm glad
He-
he's gone as well.
They
so
they would work on the Indies.
fuck.
Personally,
I know,
they
no,
would
no,
work on the
100%. They would.
and that's what's happened in news, guys.
Cool.
Okay, no, thank you. That's all right.
I mean, cheers.
No, worries.
Always put in the hard yards.
I do.
I like it. Interesting about Daniel Bryan because there is those 4 words that come into every potential future card in the future when it comes to wrestling. Card subject to change. So I don't know about Daniel Bryan. Like, he got announced when they first announced the Super Showdown in Australia, and I know that he's been announced for all those upcoming shows with WWE. But as always, card subject to change. So I will believe it when the ink is dry on his new contract. I'm still not 100% convinced.
I agree.
That he's staying. I hope he does, honestly, because it's probably the best. Like we discussed previously, it's probably the best thing for his family. But I'm just going to wait till the ink is dry.
Exactly. We discussed it last week, so there's no real reason to continue discussing the point we've already touched on.
Yep. Let's talk.
I'm with you.
Yeah, let's talk about Brock Lesnar, shall we?
I seem to be the only person who puts Brock over.
No. You're about to hear some fun stuff from me because I have.
Are we about to go into this again?
I have opinions. No. I may have.
I was going to say stand by with your opinion as well, because for those who have missed it very, very shortly, I'm going to play what Daniel Cormier said, and I'm going to play what Brock Lesnar said, and then we're going to go into this whole discussion because I think that it needs to be played for those. So for those who don't know, this is what was said between DC and Brock Lesnar at this past Sunday's UFC 226.
There's a guy that I've known for a long time. He's a wrestler. He's an All-American. He's a former UFC champion. I never thought I would fight him, but Brock Lesnar, get your ass in here.
What does this all mean to you, Brock? Let me tell you something. I walked into this building and watched the heavyweight disasters from the beginning. Nagano's a piece of shit. Miocic's the piece of shit. DC, I'm coming for you.
Why bleep the swearing? We swear on this fucking show.
No, is that the official UFC one?
No, that's from MMAmania.com.
Oh, okay.
But I think, no, UFC.
Everywhere,
that was a
everywhere
video
beeped.
from UFC.
Everywhere beeped it,
Yeah, they beeped it.
except for live on the pay-per-view, which was awesome. And I
Yeah,
loved it.
fucking hell, my god.
Yeah.
No, okay,
Anyway,
it made news, so I guess that
Anyway.
fair bleep it. But
anyway.
So let's talk about that.
all right, hold on. Ricky has opinions. Everyone.
Well,
I guess
I
at the
just,
end of the day, we always have opinions.
Mr. Needs has the floor here.
that's the entire point of the podcast is to share our opinions about wrestling. If we just reported the news,
We would just be everyone else.
we would just be a radio show.
Yeah. All right, go on. I'm getting comfy. There's one thing I love to discuss, and it's Brock
Strap-
Lesnar, because I feel like I'm the only motherfucker who puts the man over.
Strap yourself in, strap yourself on, however you like to do it. This is the greatest thing to ever happen to the UFC and WWE simultaneously.
Oh, so we're on the same page.
Yep.
We're on the same page.
I have 100% come around since WrestleMania. It's taken me a little while, but the more and more that I have thought about this, and the more that has happened, I'm all for. I don't give a fuck. Leave the belt on Brock forever. I don't care. The sheer potential of him walking out to, say, Survivor Series or Rumble or WrestleMania 35 with both the big red belt from WWE and the UFC title, shoulder on shoulder, like on each shoulder, is a visual that I think gets the WWE just salivating about the amount of money they can make out of that. For UFC, gets the UFC title to a much larger audience. It's a win-win-win-win-win situation for both companies right now. It doesn't, like, just having this match in general is the best thing, because like everyone's complaining Brock's not on TV. I don't give a fuck if Brock's not on TV. He is a special attraction. He has the belt. Good for him. He has the Universal title, a belt that is not even 3 years, maybe 3 years old by now. It's not the Legacy belt. It's not the Bruno belt. It's not the Hulk Hogan belt. It's not the Shawn Michaels, Triple H, John Cena belt. It's a belt that's been held by Goldberg, Finn Balor for a day, and Kevin Owens. It has no prestige other than what Brock Lesnar has given it by legitimizing it, by holding it for over a year. Hasn't defended it that much, but fuck me, when whoever beats him for it, it's going to be a big deal. And the longer he holds it, the more of a big deal it's going to be when someone beats him for it. If he has the UFC title at the same time, it's going to be an even bigger fucking deal if someone beats him while he's got it. Him not being on TV, I don't give a fuck about. I have voiced my opinion previously that I'm a bit over Brock Lesnar. Right now, I'm more back on Brock Lesnar than I have ever been. Yes, there's a question from the audience. What do you want?
No, it is not. It is a finally.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm 100%. You
Finally.
Yeah, I know.
I have been. Thank you for finally fucking coming around.
Yeah.
I have been saying this for months.
Yeah.
I recently got in an argument with a mate of mine who brought up the question, I'm sick of not seeing my world champion on the television. And to which I said, now hear me out, and I know we've discussed it before, but this is where a lot of smarks and a lot of people are getting it wrong with Brock. You're saying he's keeping the belt hostage. You're saying he's doing all this. A champion should be on TV. Champion should be this. Champion should be that. He's disrespecting talent, whatever. The fact that WWE has even acknowledged slightly that Brock Lesnar has taken something hostage is them damn well knowing that this is a part of the story.
Yeah.
It is not the fact that he is legitimately having a contract dispute. It's not the fact that he's legitimately saying, I ain't going to do this and I ain't going to do that. It's this is all a part of the plan. And I've said this, and he goes, I'm so sick of Brock, yada, yada, yada. But the fact that you're talking about him,
Yeah.
the fact that no matter what he does, you're watching him.
Yeah.
The man is money. The man, and this at the end of the day, WWE is a business. Wrestling's a business. UFC is a business. Everything is a business.
Yeah.
It don't matter if he ain't on the televised shows. But when you slap his name on a pay-per-view, those buy rates go up threefold.
Okay, UFC 226 did less. A legitimate super fight, light heavyweight champ versus heavyweight champ, did less than 400,000 buys. When Cormier finally fights Lesnar, you're going to be cracking 1 million.
UFC
I
230.
guarantee that is another discussion.
New Japan had their pay-per-view on that day. WWE did a live show in Madison Square Garden where Rousey made her debut. The biggest told story on that day was Lesnar cutting a fucking promo.
Yep.
He didn't even have a match on the UFC.
He didn't even have a mouthpiece to do it for him.
All right. He cut a and the man was just called up and he spoke for about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's
all he needed to do.
And that made news.
Yeah.
Now, and this is where a lot of people go and they go, I hate Lesnar. And I go, exactly. That is what you are built to do.
Yeah.
You are built to hate Lesnar because WWE don't care. They don't care if you like the man. What they care about is whether you're watching that show. And 90% of people out there, You hate Lesnar, but you're going to fucking watch him because you want to see him lose. And you hate it when he wins, but that's what you're meant to do. And the biggest thing, and then but you come roundabout point to the fact that people are saying, well, he's not on the shows. He's not. My Universal Champion should be on more Raws. And I go, all right, fair enough. Maybe he should appear on maybe one Raw once a month or so. Just to, even then, I would even go maybe every 2 months. But that's physically, all right? Just to show that the belt is existent, right? My thing is, he doesn't need to be there physically. Because whether you like it or not, it's not like WWE has forgotten the Universal title exists. They keep it alive verbally, all right? You keep it alive verbally by having guys like Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley saying, I'm going to beat you, and then I'm going to go fight Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar exists week in and week out because people talk about him, all right? It creates that aura so that when WWE says, all right, we're going to make some money out of this, next week, Brock Lesnar will be on the show. You give it a week in advance, and you get fucking 10 times more people watching that show.
My piece, I'm going to play devil's advocate just a little bit with the Smarks. However, I do agree with what Lesnar's doing and what Lesnar did at UFC. But playing devil's advocate, I would love to see at least him on TV if he's going to compete at the Big 4 or Big 5, maybe just Big 4 pay-per-views, like your WrestleMania, your SummerSlam, your Survivor Series, your Royal Rumble. That's my expectation, playing devil's advocate for Brock Lesnar as a champion. And being, at least on the go-home show of those Big 4 pay-per-views at least.
I agree. Maybe just do the go-home.
Yeah.
But that's it. Just do the go-home.
However,
do we think he's going to be at SummerSlam this year?
No.
No.
I think...
But I don't care because I think whether or not he's there physically or defending the belt doesn't matter to me. But what the thing that should matter on that SummerSlam show is if they're going to... If Lesnar still exists in the universe, you have a match on that card that says winner fights Lesnar.
Yeah.
Or something like that, right? It becomes about that. And then we talk about prestige, and people are stiffing him and doing all that kind of stuff. Lesnar is actually, like Ricky said, he adds the prestige to the belt.
Yeah.
He adds it. We live in a world where the WWE Universe exists week in, week out, right?
I don't even think he's going to fight a Survivor Series either, Lesnar. I think they're going to wait until the Royal Rumble.
Well, I mean,
him.
if he was going to have any match, it would be at SummerSlam because after SummerSlam, his focus will entirely be his next UFC fight.
Exactly.
Which is, I can 100% guarantee, is not going to happen in November.
Apparently, it's going to happen. Apparently, 2:30 is when
there
they want
is no fucking way.
They want Korma Lesnar at UFC 2:30 in November.
It can't happen unless he entered the USADA pool.
He does.
You can enter the USADA pool silently.
Yeah.
I know. I'm saying
Which
unless
is done.
because everything that has been said up until this point from everyone in UFC is the fact that he was going through the process to re-enter the week of this UFC.
He's
just
also
passed.
he's training right now as we speak.
He would have had to enter the USADA pool right after WrestleMania to be in contention to fight in November. But if he has done it, that's a massive swerve, and everyone's keeping it.
He has.
Under wraps.
I think he's done
But
it.
that's the thing with the USADA pool. Like I said, it can be done silently.
I know.
The fact that things are done publicly is just because they want to do it that way.
No. I'm just saying, if
and there's been some documents leaked that Lesnar silently a few months ago entered the USADA pool.
If he has, then that's great.
Which is completely fair enough.
Yeah. It would not put it part I would not put it past Dana White to lie to the media at this point, or spin the truth a little bit to keep people in suspense before they announce the card for 2:30 officially. Which, if it is the case, it will be Cormier versus Brock for the heavyweight title,
and that will get 1 million buy rates straight away.
Probably, yeah.
Because
because
Brock is going to walk in to that UFC 2:30.
Get his ass kicked.
No, he's going to walk in holding the WWE Universal
No, he won't.
Championship.
No fucking chance.
Now this is where
No
the
way.
question is. But
No.
this is now where the question.
I think he will.
No.
All right, no, but
No,
this,
why would he?
This will give WWE mainstream attention on
It's up
UFC
to Dana.
TV.
Brock doesn't care. Brock doesn't care about giving WWE mainstream.
No.
When he's in UFC mode, he doesn't care about.
No, but this will be
he does not care.
this will be from Dana.
No, but
Dana will be.
But WWE, but Brock does care about the check.
Yeah.
And paying Brock to be able to show up, and if I'm Vince, I'm going, Brock, I'll give you whatever, but you wear that Universal title belt at that UFC pay-per-view.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dana has final call.
No, I agree.
The relationship
That's what I'm
between
saying.
WWE and UFC is getting slowly better with Rousey coming across, with them lending out Brock to do UFCs.
And
I
Rousey going
don't
back for the
think-
UFC Hall of Fame thing too.
I don't think the relationship is that good yet.
But that's what I'm saying.
There
It
is
does.
no
It does rest on
fucking-
Dana.
There's no fucking chance
I think
Dana White
I
lets
think
him
Dana
walk out
will.
with that belt.
Dana.
No way.
I think I think Vince will
with
pay.
the state of UFC.
No way.
I think Dana will. No, I think Vince will pay Dana a subsequent amount of
Dude.
money for Brock to walk out.
This
the
is
spot.
why
know
in the current
How many hardcore UFC fans will turn that pay-per-view off instantly if he walks out with a wrestling belt? You cannot do it. You can do it the other way around.
I disagree.
You can do it
those
the other way
hardcore
around.
Those hardcore fans will only turn off after he wins.
Yeah.
But they'll watch the match.
They'll watch the
because
match.
they'll want to see that wrestling guy
Get
his
kicked.
his ass kicked.
Yeah.
That's the thing though with Brock.
You will never see a UFC fighter walk out to a UFC fight with a WWE belt. It will never happen.
It's gonna
It will
happen.
If
never
anything, we keep saying it's
ever
Dana. It's up to Vince.
happen.
Because if it's up to Vince really, because if he's putting up his World Wrestling belt and that's going to show up on a UFC fight, it's no surprise to everyone. UFC's real. It's a real fight. WWE's not. So in saying that, if Brock Lesnar were to take a fucking beating, let's assume like you're going, Cormier's going to win that match, right? You're going,
Fuck yeah.
yeah, Cormier's going to win the match, right?
I think Brock's gonna win.
I think Brock will win personally, but I agree. But Rick, there is merit. Hold on, there is merit to Cormier winning. If Brock Lesnar shows up with the Universal Championship, this is the only downside to it all, right? There's so much upside. This is the only downside. If Brock Lesnar shows up with the Universal belt and gets his ass handed to him, you have slapped WWE across the face by saying, "Welcome to the reality. UFC's real." You've basically cemented it.
If I'm Vince, I'm not taking that risk of having the belt besmirched like
That's
that.
the thing, because then if Brock takes the kick, he gets absolutely whipped, then he's 41, right? How much longer has he got UFC? This probably will be his last match. Right? How much longer can he stretch out a UFC career? Obviously, star power will get him onto the show, but him as Brock Lesnar, I guess he'll want to chase it. But really, let's look at this as probably his last good match.
He's looking for one big fat paycheck.
Yeah,
to
one
finish
big
it.
fat fight, and this is what it is. If he takes the kicking and loses, that's done. But then he goes back to WWE as the defeated guy on a UFC card with the Universal belt. That belt gets smeared. So then he will drop almost.
He came back after a
Dean-
no contest and failing a drug test. And opened up Randy Orton's fucking skull.
And-
Agreed.
So,
And
But
he also came back to WWE after getting knocked.
He won, though. No contest, but he won.
And
so it wasn't like
I
in that
know,
moment,
I know.
he beat the guy.
but for me, and
It's
this
not
is-
the
and
same
this
as
has
him
been- this has
getting
been the-
his
this has been the
ass kicked.
situation since for me is that every time Brock comes out, yeah, it's a spectacle, yeah, it's cool. I still have that asterisk in the back of my mind. He got done for drugs, like his last UFC fight. Have you noticed that they have downplayed the UFC accomplishments ever since he failed that drug test? JBL always used to say when he came out, he'd do all of his accolades, whatever, and then he would always finish with former UFC heavyweight champion. After he got the no contest, failed the drugs test, came back, they stopped referring to his UFC career. You can go back and you can check me on this. I might be wrong for the most part, but I know immediately after that fight and the failed drug test came out, they stopped referencing his UFC career for at least 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
They may have started using it again recently, but for the most part, they tried to distance themselves from him failing that drug test and looking like a bit of an idiot in the face of everybody.
Yeah, honestly,
because
fair
it was
enough.
a boring fight against Mark Hunt, and then he got done for drugs. The same thing I think is going to happen again. If he loses, he's going to go back to being just Brock Lesnar, the Universal title holder. If he wins the fight, he becomes Brock Lesnar, the UFC heavyweight champion and Universal. Sorry, the UFC.
He
Universal
becomes
champion.
the double code champion.
He does.
Right?
But I'm just saying, once again, this is WWE. They select their own history.
yeah,
They really select their own
They
history.
do, and look, to their credit though, and I get it when it came to whitewashing Brock Lesnar after he got done for drugs.
Yes.
But we gotta live in the world where it's best case, right? And if I'm WWE, there's more money to be made in giving UFC and saying Brock Lesnar's going to come out with the Universal. We're going to pay him to do it. Dana sign off at it. There's more money to be made that way.
And imagine this too. Imagine Brock Lesnar at the 2019 Royal Rumble walking out with both the Universal and UFC Heavyweight Championship on his shoulders.
So I can see it working the other way, but I cannot see it working from like WWE to UFC, but UFC to WWE.
But
I can see it working.
just
100%.
imagine that
But
image
you come
of
at it
Brock
from a
Lesnar.
hardcore perspective, right? You're a hardcore UFC guy, and you're
Yeah.
saying you're apparently speaking for the hardcore UFC guy.
I'm not necessarily speaking for them. I'm just speaking for the general public. Like, okay, this is a fight.
But the general public still knows him as the WWE wrestler. But this is where it always comes. This is where it always comes back to with Brock, though. This is where it always comes back to. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
He's one of a kind.
He's one of a kind.
Yeah.
He is kayfabe nowadays. All right. The man in WWE isn't booked to be like everyone else. He's literally booked to be the MMA guy, where he comes out and he beats you up because you don't know if he's going to go on script and do it this way or not. He is kayfabe in that reality, and because he is kayfabe in that reality, he exists in the other reality as well. In the same way that he can now transpire over to MMA with the Universal belt because it does have that kind of credibility to it, right? And it's not, you can't pretend to be a UFC hardcore fan and look at Brock Lesnar and go, wait, he's in WWE? Oh my God, is he in WWE? I'm retarded.
No, I know.
He's a WWE product.
I know that they're like, but that's the thing. Like this fight doing 400,000 buys, that is your hardcore. A Cormier Lesnar fight is going to draw the casual fan.
What's more money?
The casual fan.
No shit.
I know.
He walks out with the. If UFC is not in the greatest position financially.
I know.
Okay?
They're not doing well.
Dana would actually be groveling at McMahon's feet to be like, one, great, I have Lesnar on the card. No shit. That's great.
It's such a
Two,
dicey thing.
give
right
me
now,
the
man.
Universal title and let me promote it as WWE's World Champion versus UFC's World Champion. And then if you want to be a bit more audacious, maybe sprinkle in the fact that wrestling is a little bit on UFC side, sprinkle in wrestling is a little bit inferior, and on the wrestling side, sprinkle that wrestling's better than UFC. Heel on both. On both the face.
Look, 100%. Right? That confrontation after the fight, that is 100% some WWE shit.
No shit. That's like, what it is. But that's where sports is, man. That's why WWE has its foothold on sports now.
Because UFC is, and like we've all been to a UFC event. We all went to 193 when it was here in Melbourne.
Fantastic events.
But when someone asks you what that event was like, you would say it was sports and entertainment. Because that's what it is. They're trying to be WWE without admitting that they're trying to be WWE, and they have been for a while.
Yeah.
Entrance themes when you walk out, WWE thing from day dot. Pyro, all that sort of shit. Like even the preview packages for the matches is straight out of the fucking WWE.
No shit, boxing does it too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
but WWE is the ones that pro wrestling in general.
Pro wrestling is what it's now known for.
That sort of shit.
But it started with boxing and all that.
Yeah, I know.
But that's wrestling. No, I agree with you. It's the theatrics before the fight.
WWE perfected that.
No shit. No, I'm agreeing with you. Right? Where it becomes the theatrics before the fight.
But at the end of the day, what happens inside that ring, for the most part, is legitimate. And there is still something to that I feel Brock walking out with a WWE title is... It doesn't feel right. Him rocking up and being called out by Cormier.
I think it would feel less right if he didn't walk out with it because you can't pretend like he's not.
Why didn't he show up with it when he got called out?
Because he's wearing a goddamn suit. He doesn't have to carry it everywhere. But if he's walking out to a fight,
yeah, but I mean, if you're trying to,
there's a lot of factors.
If you're trying to hype this fight in the way that I think a lot of people are thinking about, because it is like it's the wrestler turned MMA guy versus the massive WWE fan who is also a very, very accomplished MMA fighter. Why the fuck would you not take that opportunity to have him walk out with the Universal title when he got called out? If he doesn't do it then, he doesn't do it when he walks out to the fight.
No, because the Universal title doesn't take precedence over the UFC title. So look at it this way.
I know, but I'm just saying,
confrontation was to establish the UFC belt.
He could have just had it next to him on the.
You know what? Fair. I agree with that point.
Didn't have to walk
Could
into
have
the
had
ring with it.
But in the same way that they can still make up for that by having him.
I'll say this though: this argument about Brock,
it's such a weird thing because we've never been in this situation before.
On its own, this could be a 1 hour debate discussion about Brock.
And I would like to save it for another format. But
look,
because that's what it's for.
I do want to move on though we might as well move on to the other stuff that's happening in the world of pro wrestling. But beforehand, some other breaking news that came to hand, which I didn't mention in the news as well. Former Divas champion Caitlyn is going to be taking part in the Mae Young Classic. As announced, she's been the first one to be announced as a competitor for the Mae Young Classic. What do we think of Caitlyn returning to WWE for the first time in 4 years?
That's fine.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm alright with it.
It's like...
do you think it's a one-off, or do you think...
No, it's a one-off.
I don't think it's a one-off.
Do you think she's coming back
Well, it's
permanently?
interesting. How old is she?
She's been doing indie shows.
Yeah, she does indies.
Recently.
She's been doing all right, actually, at the indie shows as well.
She has... I've got her on Instagram. She has her own clothing
31
line.
at the moment, so she's...
her own fitness company, so she's doing fine money-wise.
Yeah.
She's doing a few indie shows.
Because the last time we had a former WWE women's wrestler in the Mae Young Classic last year was Serena Deeb, who was CM Punk's disciple in the Straight Edge Society, and she was there only for a one-off appearance.
Well, look, the thing with it, like, it's the same thing with the UK tournament, same thing with the Cruiserweight Classic.
It's usually just one-off shit.
Yeah, it's one-off shit because obviously winner signs, but then because you got to think about how are these people being booked in the future,
Yeah.
right? So unless
you put
does she
Caitlyn to
sign and win,
I think
right?
unless you put it to NXT maybe, and she can help build that women's
because
division.
Caitlyn didn't have that big of an impact on the main roster.
No, not really.
Exactly.
It was a very shallow division that she was in too, because
Yeah.
you had people like Eve and the Bellas and Maurice at the time as well. It's a very shallow.
Yeah.
Oh, and Michelle McCool and Layla, like, that was a very shallow women's division back in 2000.
Yeah, it's been a while. She's been off mainstream for a while.
Yeah.
In the same way, he's a good example, but they did it to Drew McIntyre.
Yep.
Like, man spent a fair bit of chunk of time on the main roster, but you still did the NXT run to establish yourself as a new gimmick.
He was champion as well of NXT too.
No shit.
I just don't think Caitlyn is coming back in any sort of full-time role. I think this is just a bit of fun.
Yeah. I think the women's
That's
division
all it
is
is.
pretty stacked, but I think NXT could use it though.
Yeah, I think NXT.
I
I mean,
Take
if she
it
wants
easy.
to she wants to come and do some training or whatever,
Yeah.
as well as doing a bit of wrestling, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I just feel like this is just a bit of fun. Have her come in, fill out the numbers, whatever. She probably gets eliminated.
And also,
in about
Toni
round
Storm
2.
is another potential. Apparently, rumors are Toni Storm could potentially be the one to go all the way and win the Mae Young Classic
She
this year as
fucking-
well.
she fucking
which
should.
means that she'll be signed because WWE want to sign her to a multi-year deal.
Yeah, I would too.
And it'll be good as
She's
well
the
because
best female talent out there right now.
Yep.
I've also read as well that NXT will be getting first glimpse of Toni Storm post Mae Young Classic too. So Toni Storm's going to start in NXT as well, which would be good if you're going to take on someone like a Candice LeRae or a Shayna Baszler in NXT. Toni Storm can take on one of them because speaking of NXT, probably the biggest thing to come out of this week and next week. This week we had probably one of the best matches from NXT this year, Mustache Mountain versus the Undisputed Era. The boys worked on Trent Seven's knee. Tyler Bate threw the towel in to give the Undisputed Era back the tag team titles, but moving forward, I think TakeOver Brooklyn 4, we're going to see these two teams lock horns yet again, which is going to be a fantastic tag team title match. But the one thing that I'm looking forward to seeing is the Fatal 4-Way match next week for the women's. The winner takes on Shayna Baszler, I think, of TakeOver Brooklyn. You got Kairi Sane, Bianca Belair, Candice LeRae, or Nikki Cross. Who do we think is going to be that one out of there who's going to go on to take on Shayna Baszler at Brooklyn 4? Because I think this is where that story is going towards.
Kairi Sane.
Yeah, Kairi Sane.
Yeah,
I think Kairi as well.
Kairi Sane.
Please, she's
Whether she takes the
so
strap off
good.
her, I think she should, because I do believe Shayna should chase.
We did mention that Shayna's a better at chasing than
Shayna
Shayna.
shit, I believe. Yeah, that's how
But-
heels work.
But I think
Heels-
we did mention on the prediction video
Shayna
for
really ready for main?
No.
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
But like then again, I think Ricky brought up the point as well in our pay-per-view prediction video for Money in the Bank that
Yes.
Shayna does look really good with that. She does look good with the belt
No
on her.
shit, but you can
Oh,
look
no,
good with
she-
things, but like, you can look better while chasing for it.
I think the way they're building her though, she does feel she has a bit of that like mini Brock Lesnar feel because she does have the background.
No shit, but
She does feel like someone who you believe her with the belt around her waist.
And then imagine like a
So-
potentially future, Baszler versus Rousey program that could
That's
potentially
where I
happen
think they're
eventually.
going to have to go with this eventually. Like,
eventually.
yeah,
But yeah,
give it a couple of years.
Yeah, give it a couple of years.
yeah.
But
Well, that all depends on Rousey's situation.
Because, like,
that'll be
honestly,
it.
I think if Shayna Baszler comes up, she goes straight to SmackDown and Oscar versus Shayna Baszler.
oh yeah,
Oh god, that'd be good.
that'd be amazing.
And even like Charlotte versus Shayna Baszler as well.
And
There's
in a few
potential.
weeks as well, Tommaso Ciampa is taking on Aleister Black for the NXT Championship as well.
Have you been sussing Ciampa on socials?
Dude,
Yeah.
he is the king.
The man
of,
is the king of
social media.
banter, man.
Oh my god!
Oh,
Did you see the series? Show me what a transitional
yes,
champion is.
yes.
So good. Anyway,
That's inside baseball, man.
you
That's
you
inside
missed a
baseball.
bit of news that I sent you boys on the way to the studio today. Next year, WrestleMania weekend.
Yes.
Ring of Honor and New Japan are having a show on the Saturday before WrestleMania
Wow.
at Madison
Square.
Square Garden.
That's audacious.
You are going into Vince's territory.
Yeah, that is audacious.
You are going into the arena that made WWE what it is
Yeah,
today
that is
on the
awesome.
weekend that WWE they're putting on their biggest show of the year. That is some balls.
That is
some low
aud-
swinging
That
balls,
is audacious.
and I love it.
And
I
this
fucking
also
love
now
it.
gives Ring of Honor.
It's literally
A bit-
like whether they like it or not, you might as well name the pay-per-view slap in the face. Like it's call it whatever you want to call
Big
it,
ball
man.
slapping.
But it's what it fucking is.
What I love though about this though is that now Ring of Honor gets a new platform heading into like they finally get to no longer be known as that third best indie promotion in the United States or in North America now. Ring of Honor.
Third best.
It was the third best for so long.
Second best.
Because Impact existed.
Yeah, that's
Ring,
why.
Ring of Honor's better than
But
Ring
I
of
think
Honor's
now, with Ring of Honor's very strong relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, I think that New Japan and Ring of Honor New Japan as well will rub off a lot on Ring of Honor because Ring of Honor, have Cody, they've got the Bucks.
I mean, they've got that.
Kenny Omega
They've had
makes
that working.
appearance.
They've had that working relationship for a couple of years now,
Yeah,
and
it's still good.
It's helped out both sides.
Yeah, they're now reaping the fruits of their labor.
And
Yeah.
if you look at like some of the best indie workers as well, like Bully Ray, for example, is doing his best stuff on the indies right now still, and he's giving Flip Gordon a bit of a rub as well, because I think their feud's about to progress as well.
Oh my god, yeah, I know. Yeah. Here it is.
I
Here it
fucking
is.
called
Here-
that
yep,
shit,
here it
boys.
is. Yep.
Flip Gordon versus Nick Aldis for the NWA title. He's going to win it, and he's going to face Cody at All In.
I can't
Oh my
believe-
god, I'm so happy.
Can't believe.
Oh man,
I knew it was going to happen.
Flip.
believe that
I'm just
they're
surprised Cody
fucking
didn't win the
doing
bloody Ring of Honor strap because they could do a strap v strap. That would be so.
You know what
good.
I think's gonna happen?
What?
Gimmick finish.
Give me finish.
You get
Yeah.
a triple threat it all in.
Yeah.
Look, it
That
could.
way,
it-
Aldis can fucking still retain.
Yeah.
The NWA belt can still retain some prestige
Oh,
and not be jobbed
are you
out.
saying Flip Gordon would not?
Oh,
add-
but you're jobbing the belt out to a fucking storyline on YouTube.
but dude.
It's the
Right now-
NWA belt,
Right
bro.
now, dude. Right now. Okay.
And
okay.
the boys
I-
are booking all in.
I would not have known
if I'm a
that NWA was even back properly if it wasn't for being the elite. They are the only game in town.
you're not wrestling, bro.
No,
you're not wrestling,
That's
bro.
okay, that's a bit of hyperbole, but all I'm saying is, right now, a lot of people are getting the information from other things aside from Ring of Honor in New Japan, especially with this all-in taking people from a lot of different promotions, through being,
I'm
being
not
the elite.
stiffing the elite, but I'm just saying the NWA belt.
I know, it's the prestige belt.
Come on, man. For one, there's a lot of backstage politics logistics that go into All In, right? Because honestly, they've only announced the NWA belt, and it's a shocker that they managed to do that because the boys are booking All In. The boys are booking it.
I think that
Talent should not book.
No. Like, look, I think that for the most part, All In, and we're yet to see what it's actually going to look like. But for me, I think it takes place kind of in an ultimate dimension, like
Look, and I agree with
right
you.
next to what kayfabe is, or
I agree.
right next to what real
But the
storylines are.
NWA belt, bro.
No, I know. But
I say gimmick finish,
I have
triple
no-
threat
I have
match.
no
Aldis
issue.
walks out of you in the All In.
I have
with the
no
belt.
issue with Flip holding the NWA title. He's a damn good talent. He's coming
And I
up.
agree, but no, and look, everything you're saying is right.
Yeah.
But it's fundamentally wrong and should be crossed because of the sole fact that Flip shouldn't win it because he will win it solely for the fact that he'll get booked for All In.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't gimmick finish, triple threat.
I'm okay with it.
Gimmick finish,
I'm okay with it.
triple threat, All In.
I'm okay with it. Anyway, yeah, profit call. That was always going to happen anyway.
Yeah, fair play.
But yeah. But speaking of Ring of Honor and New Japan, G1 special in Long Beach this weekend. Did we check it out?
Oh, was that? Oh,
Do
okay.
we know at least what happened?
Yeah, no,
Yeah, we know what
I
happened, yeah.
didn't have time to check
Okay.
it, but
Boys, please go back and watch it because the match between Cody and Kenny was fucking awesome.
no shit.
Will do.
Kenny Omega's
And
the
then
greatest
what
talent in
happened
the world.
afterwards?
Are we honestly going to talk
This
about
is-
that? Because I don't feel like that's the biggest piece of newsworthy thing from the G1.
Well, I mean, we can talk about Hiromu if we really want to.
Are we not?
Not that either.
No, that's it. That's what I was talking about.
Hiromu.
Yeah.
Get well soon. Please tell me your neck isn't properly broken. I love you. You just...
Come on, you saw the spot, though.
Oh, it was brutal. It was absolutely fucking brutal.
It's stupid is what it was.
No, I know. And we can talk about that. till
Double
the
underhook
absolute-
with a fucking neck tucked into the
Yeah,
chest.
I know. Look, Hiromu, I love you, man, but you got to take it. Like I told you, the Dragon Rana down the concrete steps at the final of Best Super Juniors. That shit was bad. This shit was worse. I think that when wrestlers have the freedom to do whatever they want, they tend to do whatever they want. Whether they should be doing whatever they want
That's what.
is up to.
But that's what distinguishes a good wrestler from a great wrestler
I
nowadays,
know.
isn't it?
I know.
Because when you give the talent, and this is why you stiff WWE for being a boring product, but for the talent themselves, they're
It's
goddamn happy that they're
No.
doing that because it's safe.
No, I know, and look, this has been debated to death this week.
Yeah.
On
yeah.
every, and I think it's a pretty easy conclusion to come up with just talent do need to have some sort of restriction put on what they can do. Whether it's just a common sense thing, whether it's actually rules within the company. Obviously, we can talk about WWE's rules. They obviously don't take any shots to the back or top of the head. No more pile driver variations. No more package variations.
This is probably the biggest reason why Kenny Omega might not sign with WWE. Because the one-winged angel would be banned.
Exactly, and that is so much a part of his gimmick.
Yeah, the one-winged angel would be banned.
Even like the fact that the Muscle Buster is rarely seen now from Joe, and that is a move that he, made him famous everywhere else, and he got to do it in NXT. Broke what's his face's neck, Natty's husband,
Tyson Kidd.
Tyson Kidd. Thank you. With it, and then used it very sparingly from that point on. And it's essentially just another package pile driver variation, even though he did change up a little bit in WWE from what it was on outside of WWE. But, yeah, look, it's a terrible situation. I hope Hiromu gets up because his last 12 months have been just you can see they've strapped the rocket to him, won the title, won Best of Super Juniors, won the title at Dominion, and they obviously want him to be sort of the centerpiece of the junior division going forward with Will Ospreay, and it makes sense because he's young, got a hell of a lot of talent, and just has absolutely no fear when it comes to doing spots in the ring. But yeah, maybe this might be. Hopefully, if he recovers and he's okay, he learns from this and doesn't really do it again. So
Speaking of Will Ospreay, he is now heading towards Australia because next week Will Ospreay is taking on Loverboy Lockie Hendricks at MCW 99.
Were we speaking of Will Ospreay, or did he just try and do a segue just then?
Well, he said you mentioned Will Ospreay.
I was going to finish
good
up.
moment.
With just, I was going to finish up just with the end of of Thingo. Bullet Club saw this coming a mile away. The breakup.
Bullet Club is fine.
It's fine. It's not fine.
It's fine. It's good. It's all right.
I have been saying this for a while now. I want to say this. Fuck me. I love Tama Tonga. And he's right now the most believable badass in all of wrestling, I think.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because he just has this look in his eyes like...
excluding Brock Lesnar.
Well, okay, yeah. Well, guys that show up on TV more regularly. But he just has this look in his eye that, like, I think he actually thinks Bullet Club's real. And I love that about him. And, yeah, I just think that there's inevitably going to be a match with him and Kenny. And I'm looking forward to that.
They're booking Kenny's belt reign really interestingly.
Yeah.
Really interesting. They're giving a lot of other talent rubs. Because when Okada ran with the belt, who did he face in his reigns?
I mean, Tanahashi, Suzuki, Will Ospreay, Kenny a couple of times.
Oh, yeah, Will. Sure. But he fought grounded guys in, like, they're already established. So he did Naito, he did Omega, which I'm going to consider Omega now a very high New Japan prospect in terms of, like, he's very grounded in that system.
Yes.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you can make a case for Tama Tonga and Cody too. Not really.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Okada versed very traditional New Japan guys.
Yep.
It just seems like with Omega's run that they're stemming away from that. I feel like if Tama Tonga's next,
which I feel he is,
which I get it, but then who's after that? The G1 winner?
Well, I mean, G1 won't be till Wrestle Kingdom, and there's another. I think King of Pro Wrestling.
Have we all got Ibushi winning G1? I got Ibushi.
I got Ibushi, yeah.
I got Ibushi winning G1 to book Golden Lovers at Kingdom. If that's Omega's first bout with a Japan wrestler, interesting booking choice up until that point.
I think it's probably going to be. So New Japan are weird. Sometimes they seem like they're very progressive with their booking, and sometimes they just go backwards.
But where do you want it to ground though? This is what I'm saying. I don't know how I feel about Okada's, because obviously early stages, right?
Yeah,
but it just gets the feel. It's just got the feeling that they're utilizing Omega not as Japan's top talent, but as they just hold. He has the belt, and he's going to verse top talent around the world, right? So
which
we
is
versed,
what they're trying to expand.
which is what they're trying to do, and I get it.
and he's the guy to do it with.
Yeah, and I'm 100% agreeing with you. This is
yeah.
why I'm 50-50. I'm 50-50 on how I feel about it, because New Japan is a traditional booking, right?
Yeah.
They normally, especially when Okada's run, that's the only one we can compare it to now, but Okada's run, he did verse, aside from Ospreay once and then Omega varying times, he's 13 defenses, was it? 12 defenses. Yeah. Four of them white guys, the rest very heavily booked in Japan.
Yeah. 100%.
And I think they did the same thing with AJ. And Brock was forever ago, right?
Yeah.
But AJ was booked diverse Japanese guys.
Yeah.
I like the direction of Omega versus the world. So New Japan versus the world talents. So starting with Cody with Ring of Honor. Tama Tonga with, he's primarily New Japan, isn't he?
Solely New Japan.
Solely New Japan.
Does not do indie dates.
Yeah. Solely New Japan.
New Japan.
I guess. Yeah, all right.
Yep.
But then it just seems like he's going to be New Japan represented versus the world, which is interesting. It's interesting, but I would like to see him go up against obviously Ibushi, then maybe Okada again.
Look,
maybe work Takahashi.
I think this year the G1's going to be different. I think Kenny wins the whole thing and then chooses his opponent.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
You know what? I'll pay that.
And I think
I like that.
He's going to choose Naito.
Why?
Because he lost to him last year's G1. He wants that win back.
Oh, come on, you can book Ibushi, man.
Yeah,
You've got to book him.
It just wouldn't make sense.
What do you mean it wouldn't make sense?
It makes sense in a WWE style of booking. But you got to remember, these guys are the golden lovers. They're not just friends. They are the golden lovers. And it's like, and Kenny has said this in and out of kayfabe in interviews. He does not want to fight Ibushi because they are in that tag team. They are that close. He does not want to have that match. If it's forced upon him, sure, he would have.
That's what I'm saying. That's why Ibushi.
I know. But
you know what? I like it either way.
But
I'm not going to debate it.
I just feel like if they do go weirdly backwards sometimes, and I don't think they're done with running Naito as a top guy, and I just feel that Kenny, like Okada, when he had done all of his defenses, said there's that one draw that's in the back of my mind. And last year at G1 in the final, Kenny lost to Naito. Kenny's going to want to get that win back, and I feel he wins. Calls out Naito because he dropped Tranquilo in his speech, man. Like, you can't ignore that.
Yeah, all right. Look, all right. So we're just fantasy at this point.
I know. Anyway,
before we move on to an Australian gimmick, you reckon they'll ever strap the New Japan US belt on a Japanese guy? Sure.
Yeah, I feel...
with three title holders in, and they're all whiteies.
Well, we finally got an American.
They're true.
Yeah. It's been a Canadian, a New Zealander, and now an American.
Stiff to Jay White, man. Stiff to Jay White.
Look, man.
Look, I'm high on Jay White, man.
No,
Switchblade gimmick is a good gimmick.
No. But did you ever Juice Robinson? I love the guy, man. His promos,
fine.
Are fucking fire.
But stiff to Jay White, man, because they were high on Jay White, but he didn't even do justice to the belt.
Dude.
They didn't let him do much with the belt.
He came back from being a young boy, and they chucked him in fucking chaos with Okada. That's a big rub, anyway.
Yes.
Yes. They ran the gimmick where he was offered.
But then even bigger rub with getting the belt, but he didn't do much with it. Stiff to Jay White, man. It's not Jay White.
I think you're gonna have him and Juice Robinson fighting over that thing for a little while, and I'm okay with that because they.
You reckon they trade it? I reckon you got to start doing trades.
I'm okay with that.
In New Japan.
I'm okay with that.
Take a page out of WWE's book. I know it's like it's a bit of a controversial one where you don't want to rack up 16, 17 time, right? But it's be a 4 or 5 time in a span of a year and a half. Don't be afraid to do that because it still makes sense. If a guy can trade month to month, it literally means that they're on even par.
Yeah.
Right? And you're going to get an even, and it works if you book the guys to be good matches.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't become a problem with the fact, and this is why in hindsight, we look back and go, oh, fuck, really? 16-time world champion Cena? But you didn't think about it in the time because when he was dropping it and winning it back, he was doing it to guys like Orton and Edge. Yeah. Right? And they booked it like even par. Right?
Yeah.
Cena was able to lose these guys and beat these guys. Do it the same with New Japan, man. Don't be afraid to have a guy hold it for a month and then lose it because just by a skin of his hair, he lost it to a slightly better guy that day.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm super interested in what they do with Bullet Club now because it's all up in the air.
Bullet Club is fine. Cody's
a face, and the next couple of months going into G1 are going to be fucking awesome. Anyway, Aussie stuff. Sorry,
it's a bit of Aussie stuff.
Yeah, go for it.
It's amazing what we're hearing as well.
Yeah.
MCW 99 next Saturday night.
Yo,
Ospreay
yo.
versus Lockie Hendricks. I got to call Lockie Hendricks' match last month at APW, which I was pretty happy about. Winter War. He's a fantastic performer, one of my favourite pro wrestlers from Australia. Also, Tennille Dashwood, formerly known as Emma.
Emelina.
Yeah. Is making her MCW return,
Sweet.
which is really good. And also, my boy Seth Sid Parker, he's taking the Prehistoric Death Cult, taking on the Brat Pack for the MCW Tag Team titles. So, I think there's still tickets available at the Thornbury Theatre. But
And then we got MCW 100 coming up.
MCW 100 headlined
boy.
by Yane's boy Jonah Rock, taking on Naito.
Australia's best talent.
Speaking of Naito, he's coming to Australia. MCW 100. We have tickets.
We do, and
We're
we're
going to
going.
be there. I'm
Fuck yeah.
super keen to see Naito in the flesh because he's a sexy man. He is 100% tranquilo, and God, I love him. He's a beautiful
And
man.
I was going to mention as well that it's going to be at AMSAC too. They're going to fill it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's
So-
that's actually like, just thinking about it. Well, what's the seating like in MSAC? What's it hold? If you had to ballpark it, what are we dealing with?
I don't know what like room in MSAC it's going to be in because there's multiple
True.
areas.
Let's go best case then.
Best case, I think it's like at least 1,000.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
a
what I'm
couple.
saying. That's an MCW show. Now this is what
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
what I'm getting at. World Series Wrestling is returning in November with Being
It
the
is.
Elite,
It
and it's
is.
been announced at the same venue. They're both doing the exact same format they've done.
They're doing MSAC as well.
No, they're not.
Oh,
No, they're not.
oh, same as last.
Same as all the ones they've done before,
right,
which
yeah,
is
but-
out in
yeah,
Pakenham. Oh my, literally can't. Ferntree Gully.
Ferntree,
It's out in Ferntree Gully, right?
It's a long way away.
It's a 500 seat venue, 600 seat venue at best.
Yeah.
And they've had more recognized talent in
And
the last
sellouts.
year, and they sell out.
Yeah.
So and it's just really it's just a personal thing I've been pondering, but it's like obviously we think MCW 100 is going to sell out, right? Because that is very much catered to the Australian marks,
Jonah
and it's
Rock,
just a one night. Jonah Rock's a god. Don't get me
And-
started on Jonah Rock. I
bringing
love the
down-
man,
Bringing down Naito sells you tickets.
and sells you more tickets.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to compare it to a World Series show, which
Yeah.
I would consider bigger.
Yeah.
Becoming very more Australianized. So it's
Yeah.
becoming Australia's big pay-per-view. The
Hang on.
MCWs.
Maybe Michael. Do you know how many do you know how much room in MSAC it's been held at?
I don't know which one just yet. I
Do you know
might
what
have more information
capacity,
next week.
roughly?
But capacity, I think a couple thousand.
Really?
They want to build this up as a big
See,
thing.
no, but that's interesting.
Damn.
It's very. It's only interesting to me personally, and maybe to others. But it's interesting in regards to they're doing it at MSAC for MCW 100, right?
Yeah.
The main event is
1800.
1,800. Okay.
Yeah, so that's
World
close to 2000.
Yeah.
Series has better talent, better booking,
but they do 600.
and they do only a 600 seat venue.
Yeah, because that's out at PCW in French Gully.
Yeah, but okay, you say that, but they do have the Elite on this card.
Yep.
And in past cards they've had Ricochet, they've had Austin Aries.
I'm surprised that they're still doing it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised that they're not doing something like MSAC, right? And trying to book that because they could.
Yeah.
They could.
Yeah, and MSAC's really close to my house, and I wouldn't have to go all the way to
And
Ferntree Gully.
So pre-drinks are yours then.
Exactly.
But I was also going to say
well, yeah, true.
I was also going to say as well in regards to the MCW arena in Essendon. Like the MCW arena in Essendon is a couple hundred. The Thornbury Theatre, I think about 200, 300, 400 plus.
Yeah.
So it makes sense though, MSAC, if they want to, because I think literally they want to sell this out. If they can sell this out, they might even start doing more shows from MSAC moving on, depending on how well it runs.
That'd be cool. Well, I mean, you got Naito coming out. Like I said, he's there to sell tickets, and he will.
Yeah.
He's got our tickets already, so.
Yeah, I mean, Ospreay will probably sell out the Thornbury Theatre as well next week as well, because everyone still wants to see Will Ospreay
Well,
play.
Yeah.
And also Emma too.
Yeah, so it's good to see that if that becomes like kind of a regular thing, especially if like International Assault comes out more and more, maybe they do look at moving to a bigger venue, and maybe these shows like MCW and all that, like they start to get a little bit bigger venues, and you start getting bigger talent out, and that then begets bigger venues again, and it's good to see that the Aussie industry is starting to grow, and I think Will Ospreay is a big deal, or a big part of that, because he's kind of focused on us in New Zealand right now as his next sort of like little project. So yeah, no, yeah, I'm loving the Aussie scene being the way it is. It's great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it should be good.
anyway, I've got to go to work.
We leave it here?
Yeah, that was a productive. I think it was a good podcast. Probably.
was all right.
Yeah, that was fun. What do you think?
We've had fun.
Anyway, so yes, please, as always, go to iTunes, rate, review, and subscribe. That'd be bloody brilliant of you. Thanks. I don't know where that came from. That was weird. But you can follow the podcast everywhere at Australia Mania. That's STRAYAMANIA.
I've actually spelt it as well on the rundown too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Because I often forget how to spell the name of the podcast that we created. But yeah, you can follow us everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTubes. As I said, the prediction video for Extreme Rules should be up there around the same time this goes live, so check that out as well as listen to this whole podcast and go to iTunes and rate, review, and subscribe. We appreciate that. Also, you can follow us individually. I'm at Ricky Needs at RICKINEEDS. Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTubes.
Twitter and Instagram for me, Tomo Media.
Boom.
Instagram _Yankong, YANGKONG.
Boom. And that is the podcast for another week. We'll catch you guys after Extreme Rules, breaking down everything that happened on the card and Raw and SmackDown as always. But until then, we bid you adieu. Goodbye.
And farewell.
Nothing, Kong? Nothing? Nah. Okay, bye.